So this story is disgusting and despicable. But I do wonder where this guy got the notion that if somebody is back talking you, then you get to do violence to them. Back talking. Hey, you back talking me, boy? Don't be back talking me, boy. How dare you back talk me? Do you know what back talk is? Back talk is just, hey, you did that thing, didn't you? You pooped in the floor. No, I didn't. Hey, don't back talk me. So you're allowed to issue a bunch of accusations and insults and threats, and I'm not even allowed to say that it didn't happen? And then doesn't that fly in the face of the First Amendment? There's one of the Bill of Rights in the state says you get to be free from absolute and arbitrary power. Absolute and arbitrary power. So somebody just says, hey, come over here and watch this wall. Come over here and sit down. Come over here and do this. Come over here and do that. And just absolute arbitrary at any point and any time. So let's get back to this story. Michigan man learns his fate after shooting his 8-year-old sister for this unbelievable reason. Guy Yazza Stribling said his sister was shot during an attempted robbery, but actually it was something else. Why? Because she was talking back. He added the details behind the Stribling's alleged motivation were disturbing. Later it was revealed during his trial he shot his little sister because she was talking back. Last month the jury found the now 24-year-old guilty of first-degree murder. Bailey Singleton should still be here with us today. Her murder was a tragedy for her family. It's unconscionable that anyone, let alone an 8-year-old child, could be murdered by a relative and in their own home over the slightest of disagreements. Makes you think of the Grasshopper War. There's big war happened between the Delaware and the Shawnee all over a grasshopper. A dead grasshopper. Two boys are fighting over the dead grasshopper, then the girls, and then the mothers, and then the warriors, and then years it happened, and they're like, what started this war? And it started over the grasshoppers. The Shawnee used to be the Delaware, the Lenape. So if a dead grasshopper could start a beef, really anything could start a beef. This case is unfortunately a reminder of how gun violence is a public health epidemic that can end a life in an instant. Yeah, it is crazy. He was sentenced to 40 to 60 years behind bars. An extra 2 years were added for a felony firearm charge. Well, you're going to go to jail for 60 years, and we're going to add 2 more years because it's a firearm. I mean, he's 76. He won't get out until he's 76 years of age. And it's just, he should be put behind bars. He should be put behind bars forever. Justice is actually an eye for an eye. It's just that people don't come up with this stuff out of a void. If he grew up thinking that if somebody backtalks you, if they disrespect you by backtalking you, then you're allowed to get, he got smacked. Let's say he was abused and he got smacked, and he was thinking that it's okay to use violence against somebody who backtalks you. So I do wonder if there is child abuse in his history, just out of curiosity. Here's another case right here. Man is paralyzed by Brainerd shooting on Sunday. That last one was from Michigan. This one here is from what state? Tennessee. So this is fascinating, actually. This guy was in the back seat of a car. A guy gets out of the car and he gets to his trunk, and he was just getting a Bluetooth. So he stops at a red light, which is weird, right on Brainerd Road and East Brainerd Road, to get his Bluetooth connector from the trunk of his vehicle. When he gets out, this is Keenan Glenn. He gets out. He hears a gunshot. He falls to the ground. Now he's paralyzed. Who shot him? Well, Jekyll M. Woods. This guy pictured here. This guy pictured here shot him because he said the way he jumped out of the car and reached into his trunk, he thought he was being threatened. He thought that there was an active threat that was happening. And when the police got to the scene, both of the vehicles were still there. Both of the vehicles were still at the red light. So there is something to be said about them not running, not fleeing. They stayed at the scene. They let the officers question them. Right? So it's like, go through the process, and then the whole idea is that if they felt like it was, what did they say actually? You had that Jalen Sebron was shot and murdered by the police. He had a gun in his hand, and it was said that he was defending himself. There was some sort of shooting that happened inside of the event. But the way that the DA had said, George Brockler had said, It doesn't matter if the guy was doing something just. It doesn't matter if he was doing something innocuous or innocent. The only thing that matters, according to George Brockler, is what did that police officer know at the time, and what did he perceive at the time? With the knowledge that he had, with what he was perceiving at the time, was it reasonable? Was it reasonable to do what he had done? And so, if we were just to, this guy, it seems like he's guilty, and it seems crazy that he stayed at the red light, but the fact that he did stay at the red light, didn't run, that kind of gives me a sense that maybe he's good, maybe he's lawful, maybe he's moral. And so now, you got me questioning a little bit. The other guy is, paralyzed for no fucking reason, and that's bullshit. So this guy should definitely pay for his crime, but I'm just kind of saying how the police don't just get the benefit of the doubt. They are just, innocent no matter what crimes they commit. They're just innocent. They get immunity, and then you have to not only see what the situation was, but the information or the lack of information that they knew at the time, and then their perception of things, right? They could have all the information at the time, show up to the scene, and then just shoot that 8-year-old girl for back-talking, right? So they could just, if a cop had done that, then somehow they're going to get immunity, right? Somehow they're going to get immunity, and a lot of times. So, let's go back to George Brockler. So he's saying, with the information that he had at the time, with what he was perceiving, therefore, the murder of Jalen Sebron was justified. Well, Jacob M. Woods, what did he know at the time? Well, he saw a guy jump out at the middle of a red light. He's parked right behind him. What do they think is going on? Why did they suspect that? Did they know him? Did they see him from before? He reaches into his trunk, and they said he was getting a Bluetooth headset, so he reaches into his trunk, gets a Bluetooth. So that's just a little earbud. What does it look like he's reaching in? Is it like a stick? Is it like the form of a gun? If a police officer did it, I bet you George Brockler would exonerate Jacob M. Woods. Wouldn't even charge him with the crime. Just give him a 2-week administrative stay, bury it into the grand jury, no indictment, no probable cause hearing, no charges. He doesn't have to go through the wash. He doesn't have to go through the so-called criminal justice system. No dispositional hearings, no preliminary hearings, no lawyers, no subpoenas, no witnesses, no plea deals, no appeals, no sequestration. None of it. He would have to do none of it. Because by his perception, he thought he was reaching in the trunk to get a gun. By the information he knew, he didn't know who the guy was. He didn't know what the guy was up to and what the guy was doing. He gets out of a red, it's a red light, but who gets out of their car at a red light? And then, that could be scary. You're just in a car, everybody's safely in their car, then all of a sudden somebody gets out of their car. So then that means they could reach into your car. They can open the car door. If the guy did have a gun, it wouldn't take just but a few seconds to turn around and shoot. So if this guy was a police officer, I bet you not only would he get the benefit of the doubt, but he'd be exonerated. He'd be allowed to walk free. But because Jacob M. Woods is not a police officer, we're not going to consider what he knew or what he thought he knew. We're not going to consider his perception whatsoever. He's just going to go to jail. He's going to go to jail for many, many years. And maybe even maybe get capital punishment for the thing. I just feel like this guy definitely jumped the gun, but the guy that murdered Jalen Sebron jumped the gun too. So it'd be nice to have, consistent standards across the board.